When Tom and I got there, Felicia was facing Colton with a gun on him. She'd gone there to kill him.
Well, she didn't know what she was doing.
No, I don't think so either. She certainly realized later what might have happened if she'd actually used the gun on him.
Of course. I mean, he didn't deny killing Frisco.
Just the opposite. Made a full confession and insisted that we take him in. Said that he was Sanctuary, the thing that Frisco had tried to warn Felicia about.
You think he's one of the terrorists?
I don't know.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, he and Felicia were kidnapped by them, weren't they? And then he helped turn Colette in.
You're right. But there are too many missing pieces to this whole thing. The guy's confessed to a murder. I mean, we got to listen to him.
You say Tom Hardy knows more about this?
Apparently he's been in therapy with Tom now. Tom knows more than we do, but Colton's refused to allow him to participate anyway.
Robert, what in the world is going on? You know good and well that Colton Shore is no murderer.
Well, according to the paper, he seems to think he is.
This is absolutely ridiculous. Where is Sean? I've tried to reach him all day.
He's on a case.
Well, that's what he says, but who knows what he's up to. And Robert, if you know where he is, would you please tell me? Maybe he can come in
one,
right now.
I don't know where he is, and two, I doubt that he could help anyway.
You know it is a mistake. I mean, Colton would not kill Frisco.
I don't know that for a fact. Come to think of it, I don't know much about this character, period. But he's not a flake, so I'm taking him seriously. For the moment.
What happens now?
Well, I'll interrogate him again, see whether I can add any more pieces to the mystery. It's before the WSB and the Canadian authorities get involved. But if he stands by his confession and won't allow his psychiatrist to speak, then there ain't even going to be a trial. He'll be arraigned and then sentenced in a couple of weeks.
Sentenced, my good. How much time could he get?
For killing a Fed. Penalty's death.
Who would have thought it? Such a nice, clean-cut young man. Oh.
It's incredible. I mean, I would have thought of anybody else before Colton.
Oh, you never can tell a book, can you? I mean, to think he lived right upstairs, it gives you the shivers. Of course, I never knew Frisco, but Colton never seemed the type to do something so bizarre.
No. Poor Felicia. I'm so glad her grandmother's here.
Oh, it's a custom.
Thank you.
Good morning, love. I'll have the usual, please.
Coffee, hard roll, and cheese.
You got it every time.
Well, I can tell you that's about the only usual thing around here today.
Really? Why?
Oh, well, you obviously haven't read the papers.
I just got up. What's going on?
Oh, your neighbour down the hall turned himself in for murder last night.
My neighbor?
Colton Shaw. It's all over the papers. I mean, he killed one of Port Charles's famous heroes and turned himself in last night. I'll get you breakfast.
This is wrong. You got it all wrong.
I just don't know what in the world to do about this. I really don't.
Couldn't agree with you more.
The studio must be a madhouse. Do you know we had a 30 rating the last time on Colton Show? Do you know how many fans that is? I mean, they're going to be storming the studio, wanting to know why the star's in jail. I've got to get over there. If Sean calls or anything, let me know where he is. Tell him I've got to talk to him, okay? Goodbye.
She has a wonderful way of putting everything in perspective, doesn't she?
I don't think she's coming to grips with the reality of the situation.
No. I'm having a little trouble myself.
You know, I've always prided myself on being able to read people. This one got right by me.
Oh, how could you possibly know?
Well, you didn't come by to talk about the crime wave. What else?
I came by to ask you a favor, but I don't think it's time, really.
Domestic or professional?
Domestic. I was going to ask you if you could take Robin to the zoo this afternoon.
Why can't you take her?
Well, I can, but it's just that she's depressed and you have such a wonderful way of cheering her up.
What's up?
One of her birds died.
What? How did it die?
Oh, don't jump to any conclusions. The bird simply died, that's all. I mean, they're very fragile. They're very small. I mean, any little noise and they can have a heart attack or
The
something.
bird had a heart
I
attack?
don't know if it had a heart attack. We didn't give it an autopsy, but we came home, the bird was dead, and she's upset.
All right. All right. I'll drop by later on and see if I can cheer her up.
Would you?
Hmm.
Good. You're very good with her. I'm going to go see Felicia.
I think she really needs your support.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
All right, love.
Bye-bye.
What's up?
Well, Shore has agreed to see his psychiatrist, but he doesn't want to see anybody else. Doesn't want a lawyer.
Well, if you tell him whether he wants a lawyer or not, he's going to have one. Also remind him that we make the rules around...
Commissioner Scorpio, they tell me I couldn't see Colton. But I've got to see my boy. I've got to talk to him. He would never hurt a fly. Surely you can't believe that he killed Frisco Jones.
Come here, Mrs. Simpson.
Can I see him?
Colton doesn't want to see anyone, but in this particular instance, I'm going to try to convince him it's the right thing. Maybe he'll tell you more than he's told us.
Papers said he confessed.
Right. But there's no motive and there's no details. Maybe he'll tell you what really happened.
Hey, McElroy, I thought you were from Illinois.
Are you sure I can't get you some more tea or coffee, hot chocolate or something? I don't want anything else. Well, I wish there was something I could do to help here. I appreciate you coming up here. But no. It's just it's so hard to believe. It seems so unreal.
I don't know if it's that hard to believe. After all, Colton is Lucico's cousin. Maybe it's in the genes.
No, wait a minute. That's not fair, all right? He came to Port Charles. We were all suspicious of him, but he proved himself, and you liked him.
That's true. It's just very difficult to understand. Why would Colton kill Frisco? He didn't know Frisco. He didn't even know you at the time, Felicia.
I asked myself that question 1,000,000 times. Have you asked Colton? I can't. I don't understand it. I mean, he stood by me all of these months. Why? He wanted me to help me find out about Frisco. He even went to Quebec with me to see the grave. And when I saw the grave, he helped me deal with the whole thing.
Felicia, have you talked to Tom about any of this?
No. Tom went with them when Colton was arrested.
Well, you know, since all this came out in therapy, maybe Tom can explain what happened to the police.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about that. Maybe the shooting was an accident.
There's only one problem. Tom can't reveal anything that Colton told him unless Colton gives his permission.
Oh, please, come in.
Oh, Felicia. I know how you feel about Colton.
I don't. I loved him. I wanted to murder him. I understand this.
Nurse, my father is not in his office. Would you track him down for me, please?
I'll try and get him for you.
Tony, I'm sorry.
How long have you known that Colton Shore killed my brother? And why the hell didn't you tell me about it?
I didn't. Not until yesterday.
Yesterday? When yesterday? How come the police didn't know about it till last night?
Oh, come on, Tony. I don't have to explain doctor-patient confidentiality to you.
No, you don't. You don't have to explain that. But somebody has got to explain to me why Colton is alive and why my brother is dead.
Tony, I understand how you feel. And I know how traumatic this is for you. If you ever want to talk about it, my door is always open.
I don't need a shrink. I need revenge. And listen, I don't want to hear anything about a temporary insanity plea from you for Colt.
Well, maybe you need a shrink more than you know.
Tell it to the jury.
Dr. Hardy, your father's on the way up.
Thank you. Tony, I'm sorry.
So am I.